Hello, my name is Brian McLean. I'm an instructor of JavaScript and Python programming at Noble Desktop in New York City. In this video, we're going to look at a classic coding challenge, an interview challenge called Find the Fibonacci Numbers. So part of the challenge is actually to see if you even know what a Fibonacci number is. So let's make sure we know about that before we get started. So over here at Wikipedia, we see that a Fibonacci number is a sequence of numbers where each number is the sum of the previous two numbers. So if the number is 5, the previous two numbers are 2 and 3. When the number is 21, the previous numbers are 8 and 13. And what's really interesting about the Fibonacci sequence is that the current number divided by the previous number approaches a ratio of 1.618 to 1. Which is called the golden ratio. And it's encoded in nature, the Fibonacci sequence. We start with these little squares, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. If you draw curved diagonals for this whole thing, you get a spiral, this classic conch shell spiral, which is encoded in nature, in hurricanes, in galaxies, in conch shells, in the spin of subatomic particles, and in art. The ancients knew about the golden ratio in the Fibonacci sequence. That's the Parthenon, whose width and height are in the golden ratio. So it is pretty interesting, definitely something worth learning more about and reading up on. And you definitely want to know how to implement finding Fibonacci numbers or generating a sequence of them for coding challenges, because it is a classic coding challenge. So what they would typically do is give you a starter number, they would say. Given the first two Fibonacci numbers, or the first 3 or 4, find the nth, 20th, 30th in the sequence. So if they're giving you the first two, first thing you do is you make an array of those givens. And then we set up a loop. And we need to, on a loop, we need to add up the current value plus the next value, and then take the sum of that and add that as a new item in the Fibos array. So we've already got 2 items in the array, meaning if we're trying to get the 20th item, we need to go 18 more times. So that array needs to run 18 times. So I equals 0, I is less than 18, I plus plus. And every time through, we'll say let next Fibo, we need a new Fibo. It's going to equal the current item, Fibos I, plus the next item, which is Fibos I plus 1. And then we take that item and we push it or add it, append it to the end of the array. And to see if it worked, we can say console log Fibos, the entire array. And there it is, all the way up to 4181. That's the 20th value. Now, you do need to be careful. Always give them exactly what they want. They're very finicky in coding interviews. They like you to follow instructions. So if they say, find the 20th Fibo, don't give them all 20, give them the 20th, which would be the last one. So all we need to do now is just get the last item in the array, which you can always get as array.length minus 1. So it's Fibos.length minus 1, the length is 20, but the last item is 19 because the indexing begins at 0. So now we don't want to give them all of 20, we just give them the one that they asked for. And there it is, 4181. Another thing to do is to be a little bit dynamic. You don't really want to put in 18. What you would do is say, okay, they're giving us a target of 18. Or 20. We want the 20th Fibo, right? Well, that means we're going to have to iterate 20 minus the length of Fibos, right? So target minus Fibos dot length, which is 2. So we need to iterate 18 times. So it would be better to dynamically generate that and not just type 18. The reason for that is, what if they said, okay, here's the first 4 values, then Fibos length is 4, target 20 minus 4 is 16, and then the loop would automatically only run 16 more times. You want to avoid hard-coded values anyway. Come up with a variable that expresses how many times you need that loop to run, and the interviewer will like that better. It's always good to be dynamic instead of static in your code. Well, that concludes this presentation on how to solve the Find the Fibonacci number for a coding interview challenge. I hope you enjoyed this. My name is Brian McLean. I am with Noble Desktop in New York City, where we teach full stack JavaScript. We have a boot camp for it, and we also have a boot camp for Python data science and many other excellent courses that are available in person, on site, and also live online. Until next time, thanks again.